Bush stepped up his campaign for free trade agreements with Colombia, Panama, and South Korea today and insisted trade is in the interest of working people in America. White House correspondent Wendell Goler explains.
Against the backdrop of products America builds best, from heavy farm equipment to cruising motorcycles, President Bush focused his free trade push on the people who make them.
Trade is in the interest of the working people here in America. Pure and simple.
In a South Lawn speech and a one-on-one interview with Fox News business anchor Neil Cavuto, Mr. Bush noted the tariffs that make U.S. goods more expensive in Colombia and South Korea make them less competitive there as well.
See that case, Quadrac? If the trade agreement with Colombia goes through, that will be $15,500 less expensive in Colombia.
But as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi continues to block a vote on the Colombia trade deal, critics say it's not exporting products they object to, it's exporting jobs.
That is one of the reasons that the middle class in America is collapsing and poverty is increasing. Well, companies are saying, why do I want to pay you 15 to 20 bucks an hour? I'll go to Colombia, pay somebody $1 an hour, $1.50 an hour. That's wrong.
Increasingly, President Bush says the failure of his administration's trade agreements have strategic implications, weakening Colombian President Uribe, for example, and strengthening leftist Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez. But with both Democratic presidential contenders, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, opposed to the Colombia trade deal, it's unlikely to get a vote this year.
We cannot accept trade that enriches those at the top of the ladder while cutting out the rungs at the bottom.
Also today, Obama asked President Bush not to submit the South Korea trade deal for a vote. He called the agreement badly flawed. Mr. Bush disagrees.
Anytime it make it easier to sell a product overseas, it helps workers.
This comes a day after South Korea's president apologized to his people for reopening the country to U.S. beef despite concerns about mad cow disease, a move the U.S. demanded as a condition for the trade agreement. The president says America's allies can't understand Congress's failure to support the trade deals. He says that is weakening confidence in U.S. decision-making and playing into the hands of the country's critics.
People who are anti-American, they'll say, you can't trust America. And it'll have, it's going to be it'll be a terrible letdown.
The president says trade agreements are part of the cure for the current economic slowdown, though his critics say they're part of the cause. Mr. Bush says exports accounted for 40% of the nation's economic growth last year, though part of the reason for that is other parts of the economy, like housing and manufacturing, are so weak right now. Brett?
Wendell, thanks.